the, the price of gold compared to the dollar. Man, I can never get this stuff straight. The price of gold compared to the dollar was $30. Now it's over $1,200. Notice that prices for goods constantly increase. Let's say, you buy a loaf of bread, back in 1913, it was more like 10 cents, maybe, not even, like a nickel. Now, it's, for a loaf of bread, a reasonable one is like $2. That's pretty extravagant, and if you were to buy, say you have 1 ounce of gold, just a gold coin, worth apparently $1,300, $1,200, whatever. One gold coin back in the days of Rome would get you a toga, it would get you a belt, and a pair of sandals. Now, if you were to use that same gold, it would get you a nice suit, a belt, and shoes. That's the same thing. That's $1,200. That's ridiculous. You're gonna. This is my plea to you, in a way, to start thinking about what money really is. At least start thinking about it. Why would it be in the Constitution if our forefathers didn't believe it? And why did we stray from it? Because they always say that government just tends to grow. If you don't put a check on it as people, us, if we don't check on it, then it's going to grow. I've seen some good signs that Ron Paul has been in the news a little bit more. People are actually starting to listen to him, and that's good. I think that a lot more has to be done, though. I mean, it takes some time. Here's another reason why we should go back to gold. Let's say that my doom and gloom were to come true, that the dollar collapses. Let's say it. What's going to replace it? What in your right mind believes that we're actually going to go back to gold in the first place, if the government decided to go to a fiat system in the first place? But what would replace it? Let's say that the dollar collapses. What would replace it? Would the politicians listen to us and go to silver and gold, or at least like-minded individuals likened to me? Or would we stay with fiat? And would we start our own system? Or would we be using this basket of currencies that I keep on hearing about? We are no longer the reserve currency of the world anymore, and that was decided about a month or two ago. So there are different ideas for it. Basket of currencies. Just use China as a reserve. We could use the world reserve currency of special drawing rights, which are SDRs for short. Or maybe we would actually use our own currency in a fiat way, or we could go back to gold and silver. There are many options here. But what in your right mind makes you believe that we'd actually do something that makes sense? The government never makes sense, ever. I mean, if you've ever, you've criticized the government. You're human. You know there are things wrong with it. I mean, not just the charts that I'm showing you here, but if you're watching this show in the first place, you actually agree with me, at least on something. Or at least maybe you just want to hear what I have to say. So I've made the case for hard money in an economic way, in an Austrian economics way. There's also the Keynesian view, and there are a few other views, but basically ever since 1971 we've been on a fiat currency, which is Keynesian. People actually agree that they want to, how do I explain this? You know, it's basically the stock market, the idea that, we can trade forever, dollar will never collapse, even if the government's printing something. So, what else is going on? All right, I'm going to make a few arguments. Actually, I already did. Okay, here's the constitutional case. We've already been over this in the first show, the constitutional case. Okay, so I already displayed Article 1, Section 8. Or Article 1, Section 10. Article 1, Section 8 says the Congress has power to coin money. Man, you guys are on the ball. Article 1, Section 8, the Congress shall have power to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and fix the standard of weights and measures. And that's basically only having to do, that's only makes certain that the Congress has the power to regulate the value of money. The Congress, not a bank. It also says that, well, why would you have a standard of weights and measures if we're not using silver and gold? Boy, does that make sense. Here, if you had a coin made of silver, and it had the, and if it was an official dollar, then it would fix a rate to exchange on gold. So basically you could exchange like 16 silver pieces for one gold piece. 16 ounces of silver for one gold. That's all that is. But why would that be in the Constitution if we're using a fiat currency? I hate to rag on my father, but I apparently do that a lot on this show. So my father says that, yeah, everything that the Congress does is constitutional. How in the heck can you believe that? If the government does not have a check, if nobody complains about it, and then it may not be constitutional. That's what the judicial branch is there for, but they may not follow through. The Constitution would have worked. We don't back the currency by anything. Anyway, ever since 1971. So, anyway, so it's an unconstitutional thing. Here's another thing. If we're actually debating the healthcare, it's unconstitutional if it were to pass. So it shouldn't be a law. Why? Yeah, the Congress actually does do things that are unconstitutional. Anyway. So, all of this was supposed to be about the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is unconstitutional. It makes fiat money, which is actually unconstitutional as well. But it goes against economic philosophy of the Austrians. You can't print money forever. Paper. According to the price of gold, paper is negligible. For the very fact that you could cut down a tree and make tons of paper. You know, you know how long it takes to actually dig for gold? If you were to, that's why gold is so rare and so valuable.